diversity and equality on a healthy planet. The logo and flag of the United Nations have become its symbols as it carries out its work on the world stage. They have the practical effect of identifying the United Nations in areas of trouble and conflict to any and all parties concerned. They are also aspirational symbols, for they speak to the hopes and dreams of people the world over for peace and unity. Today, on the occasion of the United Nations Day, I would like to talk about its logo. The original UN logo was created by a team of designers during the United Nations Conference on International Organization way back in 1945. The design team was led by Oliver Lincoln Lundquist. What is this design? The design is a map of the world representing an azimuthal equidistant projection centered on the North Pole, inscribed in a wreath consisting of crossed conventionalized branches of the olive tree in gold on a field of smoke blue with all water areas in white. The projection of the map extends to 60 degrees south latitude and includes 5 concentric circles. United Nations, one great hope for a peaceful and free world. Together, we can build the world we want.
United there, United Nations. Yeah. United here, hey. United there.
A very good morning, respected Principal Ma'am, Vice Principal Sir, teachers, parents, and my dear friends. I, Swastika Jagtap of Class 8B, welcome you all to the Virtual Model UN Assembly of Indian Schools Sohar 2020. During this pandemic of COVID-19, the UN General Assembly has started its 75th virtual meeting in an unprecedented condition. With COVID-19 impacting 193 countries from among the world, the United Nations has started a large response across its various agencies to combat the crisis. Mr. Volkan Bozkır of Turkey has been elected as the president of this virtual session. I would like to invite your attention to this spectacular event. Now is the time to introduce our special delegates of this assembly. We are having 5 speakers, each representing one country. Each delegate will be presenting a topic related to their own country. So let's welcome the first speaker of the day, Mehek of Class 8D, representing the Sultanate of Oman. Welcome, Mehek.
Mr. President and the members of the representative state, as the United Nations celebrates its 75th anniversary of establishment, we would like to seize this opportunity to express our deep thanks and appreciation to the United Nations, Your Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres and his staff members for their tireless efforts to maintain the international peace and security. Recently, the coronavirus pandemic has imposed huge changes in our daily lives. However, we have to remain optimistic of the future and envisage the best ways and practices in our cooperation to realize the common goals and purposes of our states and people. No matter how difficult this is, we can overcome it. The COVID-19 pandemic in Oman is the part of the worldwide pandemic caused by the severe acute respiratory syndrome. In this context, the United Nations should also ensure that the resources to fight the pandemic are fairly distributed among the least developed places where vaccination and the medical facilities are very limited. The coronavirus pandemic has created thorny economic challenges where it can facilitate the process of debt restructuring. We can urge donor nations and institutions to do all they can do to facilitate the processes of debt restructuring and pay special attention to the most affected countries of the world. In a way, this would help to accelerate the smooth flow of the economy and stimulate the growth. On 18th March 2020, the Central Bank of Oman announced a comprehensive incentive package to inject the additional scope for the productive sectors and health sectors to increase the financial ratio by 5%. In closing, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, allow me to convey my best friendly greetings from Sultanate of Oman for good health and prosperity to all the brothers and sisters in this world. Thank you and have a very nice day ahead. Thank you so much. Stay safe, save lives.
Thank you, Mehek, for the excellent speech about health and hygiene maintained in Oman. Now, I would like to call upon the next delegate from New Zealand. Let's welcome Worki Jacob of Class 8A to this Model UN Assembly.
Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for New Zealanders, diversity is strength. We strive for a more equal society and we value strong institutions that promote fairness and deliver for all. We invest in the United Nations not only because it's the right thing to do, but because it helps build a safer, more prosperous and sustainable future. We support the World Health Organization and the role it played in coordinating an early response. New Zealand has joined the COVAX facility. This will ensure that COVID-19 vaccines can be equitably distributed to every participating country worldwide. We encourage all other countries to support for fair and equitable distribution of COVID vaccines worldwide. Mr. President, COVID-19 and its secondary impacts are having a disproportionate effect on the world's most vulnerable groups. While a vaccine would return some normality to our lives, it may take years to recover from the socio-economic impacts of the pandemic. We must recommit to the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda so we can all focus on prevention and recovery. The outlook is challenging. Our challenge today is to build back better, to rethink how our economies can work for the many, not for the few, to better focus on the most vulnerable and to rebuild our societies, to prioritize tackling the most defining challenge of our generation, climate change. Sea level rise poses extreme threat to many Pacific islands. They rely on the United Nations and its member states to make political decisions and commitments to protect their future. Moreover, it is time for a global reset towards a more greener economy. We must stop fossil fuel subsidies and divert these billions of dollars into transitioning to clean energy generation. Biodiversity all over the world is in serious decline. The time for action is now, and New Zealand is stepping up. We have launched Te Mana o Te, the Aotearoa Biodiversity Strategy, to guide the way we protect and restore nature. We urge all others to join us. It is one of the best investments in our future. Mr. President, New Zealand will continue to advocate for progressing gender equality and women's empowerment. We were the first country in the whole world in which women won the right to vote. Our top 3 constitutional positions are all held by women, and we have our 3rd woman Prime Minister. We are proud of our gains. I thank you, Mr. President, and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Worki, for your recommendatory speech about infrastructure for progress in New Zealand. Now, I would like to call upon the next delegate from Japan. Let's welcome Swanandi of Class 8B to this spectacular event. Welcome, Swanandi.
Your Excellency Mr. Volkan Bozkır, I'm honored to address you today. I would like to congratulate the Chair, His Excellency Mr. Volkan Bozkır, representative of Turkey to the United Nations, and other members of the Bureau on your election. I wish you every success for this session. The novel coronavirus disease has pulled us into an unprecedented crisis, which in turn has brought the international communities back to cooperation from its tendencies, which leads towards division and isolation. In a fight against the virus, Japan has been doing its utmost for the health and safety for the people of Japan and around the world. Now we are at the stage of revitalizing socio-economic activities while maintaining measures for preventing the spread of infections. The spread of coronavirus is a human security crisis posing a threat to lives, livelihoods and dignity of people around the world. The guiding principle for us to overcome this crisis must be leave no one behind. Knowledge and skills have been long recognized as a key source of economic growth and a valuable asset that can be leveraged, especially now. In an era of increasing globalization, to improve productivity and help address socio-economic challenges such as aging, Japan needs to improve its strength in innovation. Business investment in R&D is strong, but the quality and the impact of public investment in R&D should be improved. Access to digital networks is high in Japan, and Japanese firms lead in many areas of digital technologies. But transformative impact of digitalization requires policies to foster skills development. Japan is amongst the world's largest investors in science and innovation, spending almost 3.5% of GDP on research and development. However, the investment in innovation has not translated into strong productivity growth yet. Japan needs to focus on continuity to strengthen the quality of public research, including the links between university and businesses. Further enhance the openness of Japanese economy to foreign knowledge and technology. Foster the effective use of digital technologies by government, firms, and individuals. Japan was and will always be leading the gratitude front with extending unconditional support and cooperation for a global security and service. The citizens of Japan extend their gratitude for the global support they received during the pandemic and to control the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Swanandi, for sharing the valuable points about the knowledge and skills to fulfill the life of Japan. Now, I would like to call upon the next delegate from the United States of America. Let's welcome Shreya of Class 8C to this model assembly.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me an opportunity to share the reality in which we work. The effects of the COVID-19 pandemic in our region are well documented. The travel and tourism sector, as well as those businesses in the tourism value chain, have been some of the most affected due to the crisis. In July 2020 report, the Inter-American Development Bank stated that the COVID-19 pandemic could lead to a negative shock of between 40% to 70% in a single year for the tourism sector. Unemployment in the tourism sector is yet another pressing matter needing urgent attention. As countries begin reducing domestic restrictions, it is important that we maintain dialogue among the member states around the common challenges that we face. One of the key lessons from this pandemic is that no country can address these challenges alone. Each country's action or inaction affects the other. It is therefore important that we understand our shared responsibilities in the recovery of our region. It is only through dialogue and the sharing of experience that we can take collective action for the benefit of all. This pandemic presents us with an opportunity to reassess how we harness the power of cooperation and partnerships to develop a more sustainable and inclusive tourism. We, the citizens of the United States of America, are grateful to India, Oman, Japan, and New Zealand for agreeing to be part of this conversation. We request this organization to continue providing platforms for the exchange on policies, programs, and possible solutions for the member states as they lead to their recovery from this pandemic. Thank you, everyone. Stay home and stay safe.
Thank you, Shreya, for the advisory speech you delivered in this session of standing together during the pandemic of COVID-19 and for sharing the reality of travel and tourism sector. Now, I would like to call upon the next delegate from India. Let's welcome Vasudev of Class 8C to this session. Welcome, Vasudev.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates and distinguished guests. The concept of good governance requires the traditions and institutions by which an authority is exercised in India to be fair, ensuring justice and condemning deceit, corruption and passing of unfair policies. But this type of governance does not occur by chance. It must be demanded by the citizens and acted upon by the nation state. It is therefore necessary that the citizens are freely and fully a part of the political process. India's democratic experience over the past 6 decades has clearly established that good governance must aim at the expansion of social opportunities and removal of poverty. While several developed countries have embarked on the path of governance reform to provide low-cost, high-quality public services by putting citizens at the center of governance, India has yet to take concrete steps in that direction. Initiatives for good governance from the beginning of the 21st century include right to information, the Make in India initiative, decentralization, national e-governance plans, modernization of police forces, and aspirational district programs aimed at transforming the lives of people in the underdeveloped areas of the country. In recent months, India's steps to isolate and contain the coronavirus began with the 21-day lockdown placed when the approximate number of confirmed cases was 500, much earlier than developed countries like China and the US. The World Health Organization also stated India's tremendous capacity to deal with this pandemic, referencing how they eradicated smallpox and polio in the past. The public health facilities and government institutions dedicated to managing COVID-19 have established over 15,400 COVID-19 hospitals all across India over the span of a few months. India's political leadership, policymakers and business brains are complemented by a strong desire to make the country an economic superpower in the 21st century. The world is also looking at India with respect and considers India and China as economic growth models. Ways in which we can still improve upon our country's governance is by stricter enforcement of laws at the primary level and by providing more opportunities to people of the rural areas whose potential goes unnoticed and farmers and labourers who aren't given enough compensation for their work by the higher-ups. With a collective approach to bring change to our country's governance and improve upon the flaws that still reside, we can increase efficiency and improve the everyday life of our citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vasudev, for giving us an idea about the good governance in India. All the delegates have given their own valuable ideas. Thank you all for being a proud member of this assembly. Now is the time to conclude our session. Thank you all for watching enthusiastically. Wish you all a safe journey of life during the pandemic of COVID-19. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Stay home, stay safe.